Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Drop a Stitch podcast.
I'm your host, Natalie.
And I'm your other host, Denny.
And today is the third episode of our Market 101 series. And we'll be talking about creating stock.
We're starting with the fun part because not like the past ones were boring, but this is just more interesting, you know?
This is getting into the craft. This is what we want.
Yep. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. How's your week?
Good. Busy as always. Worked on the house all weekend. It was a long weekend.
Yeah.
So we had an extra day to work on the house.
Yeah.
Which was much needed. It finally feels like we're going somewhere.
Yeah.
For a while there was like demo and like redoing things. So it was like take out a window, reinstall a window. So it didn't feel like it was...
Yeah.
It was progress, but it didn't feel like massive progress because it was like, cool, we took out one and put another. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Now we're actually like starting to actually make things happen.
Yeah.
So it's really nice. We got our kitchen last week
Nice.
from IKEA.
Nice.
So went and picked that up. Except I forgot 2 boxes.
Oh, no.
Yes.
And what was it?
2 of my cabinet doors.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, what $100 each that I paid for and they didn't put in my order.
No way.
Yeah, so that was annoying. But I called and opened a customer service
Ticket or whatever.
And then he said he could take a few days before they get back to me.
Okay.
But my dad was going in the area today.
Okay.
So I sent him all the info and he went and they gave him to him. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, so he has my doors. So
Nice.
we're good. We're
That's
missing, there is, surprisingly, like everything has been out of stock and hard to get at IKEA with the pandemic and everything. My entire kitchen was in stock except for 4 other doors, which
Wow.
are like the same size, so 4 of the same,
Okay.
and 1 pack of shelves.
Huh.
That's it. The girl's like, it may take a month. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's doors.
Yeah.
And like 1 set of shelves. Like
Yeah.
I can stock my whole kitchen and snap on the doors later. Like that's totally fine.
Nice.
So very, very lucky there.
Nice.
Yeah. How was your week?
It was good. Enjoying the warm weather.
Oh my God,
and
it's so nice, isn't it?
I know, finally. But now it gets to the gross part because...
Whoa, not just yet.
What do you mean? This next week, it's plus
haven't looked that far
27, plus 29,
27?
plus 31.
Okay,
Yep.
I'm not ready for that.
I mean, neither. That's what I'm saying. It's like you barely enjoyed a little bit of warmth, and now we're going, you know.
Too crazy hot.
Yeah.
They did say that this summer was going to be stupid hot.
Oh, are you serious?
Yes.
Oh, I'm not looking
I
forward
would
to
just love to live somewhere where it's 20 to 25 every day.
that. That's where my home country, that's where I used to live, how it was.
Not in the winter.
When the winter is like 15,
Yeah.
so that's better than
Okay,
minus 30.
Let's move to Chile. Let's move to Chile.
Yeah.
That would be so nice. Like this is my favorite kind of weather where it's like a little chillier in the morning and then like without the sun or if there's a little wind it's chilly, you put your sweater on
Yeah.
and the sun comes and you can be like in a t-shirt and it's just super comfortable and perfect. That's just life.
I screwed up.
Oh, you screwed up. You screwed up your cast on?
Yeah. Well,
Nice.
not the cast on. I screwed
Okay.
up the...
First row?
Yeah. Gonna have to redo it. I hate this. But yeah, so finally enjoying the weather, and I have been... Work has been, you know, normal. I mean, normal. As normal as can be. But I have been doing a lot of market prep because June is coming, and that's when I'm going to find out if I got into that big market. And if I do, I want to be a little bit prepared. So I have like a little list of amount of things that I want to have for that market. And if I start doing it now, I feel like I'm going to be less stressed.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if this happened to you guys, or to you. And now that, since we're in this topic too. Oh, did we say we were talking about? Yes.
Yes.
I want to make so many things that I don't know where to start.
Yes.
And I'm like, I want to make, let's say, the headbands and the hats, and I want to make a few stuffies. And then I'm like, okay, what should I do now? Should I do headbands? Should I do just all the headbands now until I get bored? And then should I make hats? And then what size of hat should I start with? And then, but I want to make some of the plushies because they're so cute and I want to work on them. But maybe I should just do the hats for now. And I just get so like...
Yeah, so stuck in your head that you
Yeah.
don't know what to do.
And I'm like, girl, you still have time. You can make things now and then just add them to your list or to your piles. It doesn't have to be in specific order unless you are a couple of weeks ahead before your market and then you have to prioritize.
Yeah.
But I'm like, just, okay.
Frazzled. Like,
If I
don't
do
know
this,
what to do.
yeah. I'm like, just relax and make whatever you want right now because you're
Yeah,
still...
You have so much time.
I know, but I don't know why I do that to myself. But anyways, we're talking about creating stock.
Yes.
First, what are you working on?
I'm still working on the bunny that I started last week. I got both ears done. Well, I had like 1 3/4 done last week. I finished the other ear.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I made it a tail this week. And then I'm working on the head.
Nice. I made the monster for Luca
Yes, Maven.
a couple of
Hey,
days ago.
Maven, yeah, that's a name, right?
Maven?
Maven. Something.
Maven? Same thing.
Yeah.
And he loved it. I did it in a couple of days because when I get in my head that, okay, well, the thing is that I told him that I was going to do it and he's been asking for it. So I was like, okay, I need to do it. So I did it in a couple of days, in 2 days. A couple, like a couple hours a night every day, every 2 days.
They don't take very long to make,
No,
honestly.
they're so quick. And I was making it while I was watching. Okay, so I found a new series. No, it's it's not new. It's new to me. Have you watched The Good Doctor?
No,
You haven't?
I don't think I have.
Okay, it is so good. It's almost like, okay, I don't want to say it's almost like Grey's Anatomy because I have never watched Grey's Anatomy.
You've never watched Grey's Anatomy?
No. But
Girl.
it's doctors related, and it's this guy that has autism, and he's a doctor. And he's so freaking good because of his condition. He's so good at what he's doing.
Okay.
And everybody's doubting him at the beginning. Anyways, it's really, really good. And it's kind of old because it came out, I think, 2018 or 2017. I can't remember. So I'm very late to the train, but it's really, really good.
Okay.
And there's like, I don't know, 5 seasons maybe. And it's really, really good. So I've been watching that every day. I get like 3 or even 4 episodes every night while I'm just creating stocks for market.
That's awesome.
I know. I love it. But yeah, that's how my week has been. So now, let's get into
Creating
today's
stock.
episode. Creating stock.
Point number 1. When should you start?
It was funny because we were just saying this before we started recording. So as soon as you're done with your last market, you should start right away. Next day, you should start preparing for next year's. Not just kidding, but that's what you always say to yourself. Oh, I'm going to start so early this year to not be stressed and to have a lot of things and not have to worry about it. And then July comes around.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh no, I didn't do anything.
Yep.
Basically, you should start prepping as soon as you think about doing markets.
Yeah.
If you know you're going to register for any markets at all, this is when you should start no matter what. Like you mentioned, you applied for a big market in Toronto and you're already prepping even though you don't know if you get in or not.
Yeah. So the thing is, I get it. I know some people might not want to spend the money into making things if you don't know that you're gonna get into the market. But the thing is, whether you get into that specific market or not, if you're very serious about markets, you will get into one eventually.
Yes.
So it's better to have stock already than have none.
And you can start making stock like way ahead. Like I was enjoying making hats and I created patterns and I just was enjoying making them again and again. And before I even thought, like I knew eventually I would do markets. I was nowhere near ready. I wasn't even planning on doing markets. And like for 3 years, I made hats here and there just for fun. not in any like sort of organized fashion or any like didn't have a list, I didn't have a quantity. I felt like making this hat today, I made that hat today. And I had 2 bin full of hats by the time I decided to actually do markets and seriously get everything I needed to make markets. And so market prepping wasn't a rush because I already had 2 bins from the last 3 years of just feeling like making things and making things.
And when you store them properly, they should be good for...
Yes, which we'll talk
whenever.
about in a different...
Yeah.
In, I think, one of the final market series episode.
Yeah.
After the market, how to store
it.
But yeah, next time.
If you store it properly, you should be good for, for a long time. So
yes.
You shouldn't worry about starting too early. I think the earlier the better. And this is actually the first year that I started making stock this early. And I'm mainly doing it, 1, because of that big market that I applied, but 2, because last winter I donated a bunch of my stock and I don't have it anymore. So it was still stuff that I wasn't planning on selling.
Understand. Last year, Danny was like, I think I'm going to stop doing markets. I think I'm just going to get rid of what I have and then stop doing markets. This is at the beginning of market season. 2 markets and Danny's like, I need to make stock. And I'm like, I thought you were getting rid of what you have. You have bins and bins and bins from years of doing market. And she's like, yeah, but no, I enjoy doing markets. And she just went insane and made a bunch of things. And now she's making more. And
yeah, and applying for the biggest market ever. Well, that's the thing. I enjoy doing markets so much that I don't know. Like, that's the problem with me. It's not like I'm all over the place, but I am all over the place. Like, I want to do too many things. And I don't have the time for it. Like, for a while, I was... Huh?
Don't we all? Can we take a second to see it? I want to show you how when you make a bunny, it looks like a skeleton head.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn this so that it's the proper this way.
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see her.
It just looks so creepy. Every time I make it, I'm like, what is it?
I know.
So creepy.
What is this even supposed to be?
I know. It's gonna be the head.
Yeah. But for the longest time, I thought that I would be good just focusing on my blog. And if I focus 100% on my blog and not doing markets and creating stock and stuff like that. But the thing is that with markets, I really enjoy doing the markets. 2, I get a lot of income from the markets. So
all at once too. All at once.
That's the thing. So all at once. So you work, throughout the years or throughout the year a little bit at a time, and you create stock a little bit at a time, but then all the money comes in at once whenever you go to a market. So it's a lot of income for me at once to just stop doing it. And I also enjoy doing it a lot.
The social aspect, as much as can be dreadful if you're not used to it and you're worried about it, it's really nice to have people admire your work and like tell you that they love how it looks or that they saw you in a different market and they bought from you. And like some people come back to your booth and have your hat like on their head and they're like, I'm here to buy another. I love my hat so much. So there's a whole different aspect. Sorry guys, I'm pulling out safety eyes here. There's a whole different aspect to doing markets and like the social part of it that's really fun.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. And I feel like one day if my blog is like ginormous, then I can be like, okay, I don't need to do it anymore. But right now, it's not like I need to do it. I still enjoy it a lot. So, why not? But yeah. So, okay, back to the when to start prepping. The earlier, the better.
Yes.
Don't wait until if you got into that market, because that's probably like a month or 2 before the actual market, or even less than that. Not everybody gives you that much time.
No.
So that's a very short period of time for you to be, especially because we knit and crochet. That's a very short period of time for you to create a lot of things. You're probably going to be very stressed and making things rushed, and the earlier the better. So as we're speaking now, it's still May. You should start now if you want to do markets in the fall and the winter. Right?
Yes. I think most of our friends, most people around will start in June, July.
Yeah, most.
I think,
yeah.
but that's, you can, obviously the more stock you already have, sorry, I'm getting stuffing now. The more stuff you already have, the later that you can start without it being stressful and being an issue.
Yeah.
Because if you've done markets for multiple years, chances are you already have some stuff. So it's not as pressing. But if it's your first market, start yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what to make and how many? This is one of the biggest questions of all times.
Which is also impossible to answer.
Yeah, it's really hard.
It depends on so many things. It depends on the trend, like what is in style that year.
Yes.
Because it varies. A few years ago, the ponytail beanies.
Oh my gosh, I saw so many.
And then,
I remember.
like last year, it was headbands.
And the year before it was headbands too.
Yeah. So it varies year to year. So you can't know ahead of time.
Yeah.
Start with what you want to make. If you're an amigurumi maker, then make amigurumi.
Mm-hmm.
If you're, making knitwear, then make knitwear. If you're, you know what I mean? Start with what you want to do and then go from there. And I would say probably don't have like 17,000 different patterns.
That's what I was going to say.
Have a couple.
That's what I was going to say. Okay, so I feel like in a hat, for example, the design, if you have a bunch of different designs, it's okay. What I don't recommend doing, and this is something that I did at the beginning, and that's why I'm telling you not to do it, is if you knit and crochet, don't make like 20,000 items, different items. Like, don't make keychains and hats and headbands and scarves and amigurumis and coasters and table runners and placemats and Christmas ornaments and skirts, whatever.
Pare down and focus.
You know
on
the point. Because why not? Because your booth, it's gonna look very chaotic, very unorganized. It's gonna look.
It's going to make it
all
hard
over the
for
place.
people to find something too, because if you have coasters and people won't know what is what. Mm-hmm. If you have very defined categories, you have a pile of hats on this table, and then beside it you have headbands, and then you have, let's say, mittens. Yeah. It's very clear and easy to understand. Yeah. If you're going every which way, people are not going to know what to look at.
And it's also easier for you because then you know exactly what to make. And for example, I focus a lot on winter knitwear and crochet items to keep yourself warm. So hats, scarves, headbands, and I do baby booties. I don't do mittens, and I think that's it. Last year, because of the specific market, and this is also something to consider, is that you need to investigate and research about your market and what kind of people goes to that market. And the markets that I do, we have a little bit of everything. So people that will buy the 100% merino wool hats, and also younger people that will find it too expensive. So for me, I kind of like having the same thing, but some for, the people that can buy the more high-end stuff and that appreciate that, and also a little bit for the people that find it too expensive. So for example, I did a lot of not inexpensive headbands, but headbands with yarn
acrylic yarn or wool blend.
Yeah. And
more accessibly priced yarn.
Yeah. So it's the same items. It's just different material so you can price it differently. And I also did a few cup cozies because for the markets that I did it, it was closer to Christmas, and that's when everybody's very desperate of finding a gift and also
Stocking stuffer.
a stocking stuffer. So then I found a template. I bought it from this girl that makes amazing templates. Her Instagram is The Naughty Boss, and she has a cozy mug template that you can put a gift card inside. So she has like the slots for you to cut, so you can put a gift card in there. So I thought that that was very cool for, you know, when you want to give teachers gift, and you can add
a hostess
in there.
gift or anything.
Yeah, and so you can get the cozy cup, cozy mug, and with like a Starbucks gift card inside. So everything makes sense. And I did a few of those that sold really, really well. So I feel like you should focus on what you want to do. And if you want to do like a lot of amigurumis, like Natalie was saying, just focus on that, you know, and it's okay to have a few other things, but just make it not chaotic for your customers.
Yeah. Try to have set categories, and we'll get to that too in displays. How you place them will affect how your customers will react. But having, like, decide what you want to make. Like, we kind of make generally the same things.
Yeah.
Headbands, hats, like, you know, make your categories and then decide, are you doing adult only? Are you doing kids to adult? Are you doing babies? Like, what are you doing? And then from there, start making a bit of everything. And there's no way to like plan how much you're going to sell. Like, you've had some markets where all the baby stuff goes.
Yeah.
And then you've had some markets where it's pretty much all adult stuff. It kind of depends.
Yeah, it depends. So yeah, the how many to make part of this question or this specific point, it will depend on the size of your market as well.
Yes.
How many days is your market? Is it only one day? Is it a full day? Is it only an evening? Is it like the one I applied for? Is it a 10-day market? Is it, you know, so it will depend. If you're doing only an evening market, chances are you're not going to sell 500 items.
Yeah.
Or maybe you will. Depends on the market. So that's where you have to study and do research about your market. How many people do they usually
And that's something you
attend to
can
the
ask
market?
the organizer too.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many people do you expect to go through the door? Obviously, you're not going to sell to every single customer, but you can kind of get an idea of like, okay, I need a ton of stuff, or okay, I feel like with 100 pieces, I should be okay.
Yeah.
And then it goes to colors too. We talked about doing categories of stuff. You kind of don't. I mean, you want to have various colors, but you also don't want your table to be a mismatch of randomness.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need the whole rainbows and all the shades.
Yeah.
You can kind of pick what your colors are, and that will create a way more curated look.
Yeah.
On your table. You will have, you have your color palette. People will recognize you from that.
Yeah.
Instead of having just so many things.
For example, in my experience and what I do personally, to me, how many items I make of each, the more the better. That's just my rule because I do these for a living. So
And you do multiple markets a year
yes.
too. So you know you're going to reuse.
Yeah, of course. And I don't stop. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like, okay, I'm going to make 100 items and then I'm good. No. I just start and I don't stop until market day. And I have like a sheet now where I can write, for example, for this market that I applied, because it's so big and it's 10 days, I kind of have an idea of what I sell at a good market in here in one day. So I need to multiply that times 10, and thinking that Toronto is a bigger city, this market is way more popular, way more expensive, and they expect like these many people, so like I just won't stop. But that's just my personal choice. So if you ask me, Danny, how many things are you making, I'm just gonna make until I can.
And that's something that you can do too. That's something I've done so I started making markets last year, and I kept track throughout the market of who bought what.
Yeah.
Not the colors, because I feel like that will easily change from year to year, so that's kind of irrelevant. But okay, I sold this kind of headband, this kind of hat, this kind of whatever, and the sizes too, because some of them were child to adult size. So I kept track of that, so I can kind of look back and be like, okay, headbands were really popular, or you know, I sold a lot of baby hats at this market, but nothing for adults, or whatever the case may be. So if I redo this market, then I kind of know a little bit more of what to expect.
Yeah. So to me, colors, I usually tend to go more to a neutral side, because as an adult, I feel like that's what adults that's cute, go for. But you also have, you know, people that really likes colors, and you want to have a couple options for those people, but try to go for the majority and not for those two people that are gonna buy a neon green hat.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Unless your branding is all neon,
yeah.
and that's what you like.
Yeah, and that's different, you know. But like, the only thing that you have to consider is just whenever choosing what to make, what do you enjoy making? What is easier for you? Also, what takes you not that long to make? Because if you're gonna make one item that takes you 20 hours, I mean, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
You know?
Unless, you know, your market has the customer base for you to charge so much money for this one item.
So once you have, you know, checked the items that you want to make, the how many, just go for it and make as many as you want. You will never gonna waste them, because you can use them for next year. So never think that, oh, maybe I'm gonna make too many. It's better to have too much than none.
Yes.
And yeah, so that's what I do. That's a cute head.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to buying the yarn and the supplies,
take advantage of sales.
Mm-hmm.
This is, you have the chance, if you're, you know, already thinking about markets. We're in May right now. You have all the way until, depending on when your market is, anywhere from now till December, January, February, depending on what your market is and what you do, to do your stock. So anytime there's a sale, anytime, you know, you see your supplies go for a great deal, it's time to stock up. Because when and I think we talk about pricing in a different episode.
I think so.
But when you do your pricing, you always base it on the regular price of your supplies. So if you can get them on sale, then that's extra money in your pocket. So do it.
Yeah. So taking advantage of the supply, especially if you live in Canada like we do, because we don't get all the amazing coupons that Americans do. So I'm a little bit jealous, but they get so many coupons.
I know.
All the time, even for Walmart. I'm so jealous.
We don't get...
We don't get coupons, guys, like at all. Before, Michael's used to have really good coupons. I mean... Sales.
Like that one time you were...
Oh my gosh, should we talk about it? Okay.
So they used to have buy one, get one on yarn.
And this was...
Which is basically like 50% off every skein of yarn.
Yes.
And this was
in like August, no? Yeah, in August, end of August. So it's the perfect time for knitters.
For knitters, yes. And it was like a once a year sale.
Mm-hmm.
It was that moment, or you would miss it.
Yeah.
And one year Danny was visiting family in Chile, and that sale was happening. So I messaged her and I was like, hey, you're missing this sale. And she's like, oh my God, oh no, I would have needed so much stuff for market prep. And I was like, do you want me to go for you?
Yeah. I think we were talking about it in the group, no?
Possibly.
Yeah. And this is when we were friends, but not like close how we are now.
Yeah.
So I think this was like, okay, this girl is a keeper.
You guys, you don't understand. I was like, do you want me to go for you? I did not know what I got myself into. She was like, yeah, sure, please. That would be amazing. So I'm like messaging her and I'm like, I'm at the store. What do you want? And she's like, what do they have? And I'm like, yarn? What do you mean? What do they have? You know what they have. So I was sending her pictures of shelves and she was like, 2 of this, 5 of this, 4 of this, 2 of this, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, holy. And I was like, there's only 3 of this. There's not 4. Okay, get 3, but get 1 more of this one. And I was just like, guys, my cart was overflowing. I had to get a like the handheld baskets, and that was overflowing. And that was just for Danny. That was not my thing.
She sent me a picture after, and I was like, wow, that's a lot.
Saved like $500. Like,
oh, for sure,
insane.
because it was like $500.
Yeah,
no?
like
it would have been 1,000.
Yeah, I spent $500 of my money.
Yeah.
And bags and bags and bags and bags and bags and bags of yarn. The cashier was kind of like, are you insane? And I was like, it's not for me.
No, and then wasn't she had to scan it like twice because the prices weren't going through or something like that?
Oh, yeah. No, every time she would scan one, the computer would freeze and it would like put all the yarn back to regular price and then go through it and then put every second one back down to 0. Every single skein. Past,
my God.
I don't know how many skeins I had, but past a certain amount, it just did that every time. So it took like 2 minutes per skein for her to scan.
Oh my God.
And she was like, it's going to take a while. And I'm like, yep. I'm like, this is not for me. I felt
Just so you know, I'm not the crazy one.
I was like, for my friend. She's on a trip.
Well, okay, look, for context. I never go to Chile in August because that's winter there and it's cold for Chileans. So 12, 11. Think about, we don't have heat in our houses like we do in here in Canada. So there's not like a heating system other than those portable heaters.
Yeah.
You know? So it's cold. So I was like, I don't want to go there. But my mom broke her ankle and she was coming to visit me. So she already got her ticket. So her partner at the time said, okay, why don't you come? I'll pay for your ticket. And then you fly back with her whenever she has to go. So then you can help her at the airport and everything. So I was like, sure. But I was in the middle of market prep. Like that was August. So that's full on market prep for me. And my suitcases, you guys, were full, like filled up to the top with yarn. I don't know how they didn't say anything to me. I was so worried that coming back they would be like, why do you have 20,000 hats in your in your suitcase? And so I was doing so much market prep. I made so many hats on that trip and I was so upset that I was missing the sale. So then I messaged her and she was like, would you want me to go for you? And I was like, would you mind? And she's like, no. And yes, then what Natalie said, she was sending me pictures of the shelves. And I was like, 2 of those, 3 of those, 5 of those. And yeah, then that added up really quick. And then
yes, my trunk
was full.
I had like, Michael's has these giant plastic bags.
Yeah, I know.
There's so many of them. I think there's like 6 of them.
Yeah.
Filled to the brim. I like tied knots because I was like, if this yarn falls, like I'm done. And just and then I carried that in my trunk for like 2 weeks until you came back. And then I met you at Sip and Stitch, and I was like, here's all you.
That was a lot of yarn, but that was.
And that's how we became friends.
That's the moment I was like, she's a keeper. I'm keeping you as a friend because only a real friend would do this for me. But yeah, okay, so like we were saying, take advantage of the coupons, of the sales. Every time you can, buy something that's on sale for you, and that includes every kind of supplies, your business cards, your
because when we say creating stock, you have to create stock of material to sell. But you also need stock to be able to sell things. Yeah. You need bags so that your customers can take their, things away. You need business cards. You need price tags. You need, everything that you need to make, to run your business. Yeah. You also need stock of that. So now is a good time to kind of, and we'll talk more in depth of what you need in the next few episodes. But now is a good time to start thinking about that and ordering that so that you have all of that. And it's also, if you start now and spread it until whenever your markets are, it's not all the expenses at once. It's a little bit here, a little bit there. So it's a lot more manageable, especially if you're just starting out and you're like, ooh.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, and so then it's not all at once, you don't have to spend all that money at once, and it's spread out throughout the year.
Yeah.
And also you get the things on time. You're not
stressing about will it come on time. You already
especially
have them.
things that you have to order that are
custom made or
the business cards and things like that.
Or whatever.
And it also gives you a good idea, like you can make a list of the things that you need and start buying it as they come on sale. So it's good to have a list of the things that you need for your market. Like, like Natalie was saying, the bags, the business cards and everything. And as they are coming on sale, then you buy them. It would also be super good if you are organized and want to plan what you want to make and I don't know what yarn you need. So then you're in lookout for that yarn if it goes on sale or if there's coupons or whatever. So I feel like you can have a really good market season and not stressful and very well planned if you start doing that right now.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, yeah. Start prepping now.
Start prepping yesterday.
And if you don't know exactly what you're going to make and when, like if you're thinking of doing market, you clearly have some sort of idea of what you want to sell. So just start with that.
Yeah.
You can always, make, let's say, just hats and make 200 hats and then be like, okay, well, I'm sick of tired of making hats now.
Yeah.
I feel like making this and then do that. You don't have to kind of bounce around from everything all at once. Just start small. Start with one thing.
Yeah. You don't have to get overwhelmed right away and like I do. Even though I'm a senior in this, I'm still like, oh my gosh, what should I make? I just, it's because, like I said, I'm just all over the place. Sometimes I have too many things on my plate and I feel like I have so little time. I have way too many business ideas. I have way too many hobbies. I have way too many ideas of things to make and not time at all to do anything. So yeah, I have to
the same on
pick. I know. Isn't it ridiculous? Like it's so annoying not having the time. I mean, I always say to myself and to keep my, to be calm.
Your sanity.
I mean, my sanity is just, this is the season of life that I'm in. And it is not always going to be like this. One day I'm going to be able to have a normal morning and afternoon to work.
Yeah.
And right now I don't, but that's okay because this is not going to last forever. So
exactly.
That's what keeps me, in peace and be like, okay, if I don't get it done, it's good. Yeah. It's okay. It's not the end of the world and,
Yeah. And I mean, unless you have like 20 items, like you'll be fine. Like I went to my first market and I think I had 2 bins of
stuff. I remember you sent me a picture of your trunk and I was like, oh,
that's not enough. And I was like, no, you bring 8 bins, but 6 of them are under your table. Like 2 bin is good.
Yeah.
Like also this wasn't nearly as big of a market as you were doing.
Yeah.
But I had plenty. Like unless you start with like the most giant market, which congrats if you get in.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily like, I feel like our tendency is to over prepare. We don't want to be stuck without any stock, or we don't want to be that one person that sells out within a couple hours and doesn't have anything else.
Yeah.
Because that looks bad for you.
Yeah.
For the market.
And you don't want your table to look empty.
No, but at the same time, like I feel like it's kind of generally our like instinct to try to make too much. So like even you were stressing last year. You were working till like 2 a.m. trying to finish things, and you had more than enough.
I know. I'm so terrible at that. I'm always.
She was like,
thinking,
"Oh my god, like I don't have enough." I'm like, Danny, you have enough. Like I've been with you to these markets. I know how much you sell. Like you have more than enough.
I know.
And she was like, "No, I have to make more. I have to make more." And I'm like, Danny, like, but it's easy to say when it's not your market, because
Yeah.
it's not like your name and your reputation, and it's not you that's going to have to possibly face an empty table, right? But it was so funny, because I was telling her, like, you don't have to worry, you have plenty. And she was like, no, I have to make more.
I
And then
know.
after her market, she's like, I had way too much.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is that for me, when I know what it sells the most, I want to make it million
'cause
times.
that's where you make
and
your
in,
money.
And in every single color and everything. And for example, for 2 years in a row, headbands have been really, really popular. And I don't want to not have headbands. I want to have all the headbands, all the colors, all the options for my customers, because I know that's what they like, and I know that's how I make a lot of my money. So I wanted to have all the headbands, and the markets were coming, and I was just selling all the headbands, and then I was like, I need to make more headbands, and I was just making more headbands, and then they keep selling, and I'm making headbands at the table while pumping at the same time. I was like, just going crazy with the headbands, but that's what it sells, and that's what the customers were drawn to those years. And I was just wanting to make everything, and I always want to have just everything. That's my problem. I always want to have one of every color of my color palette, one of, like, like, I'm just so
Well, I think that's kind of part of being a perfectionist a little bit.
yeah, I guess.
But
Anyway,
it's a very precise, unprecise answer.
yeah.
When to start prepping? Now.
Now.
Yesterday. What to make and how many?
Whatever
Yes.
you want, just don't make it. Think about your table. Don't make it chaotic.
Yeah.
That's it. And don't make it that it is too much information for your customer. You just think of your customer looking at your booth and being very overwhelmed of, like, the amount of things that you have, different things, not the same of one, different things. So try to narrow it down to, we're not going to say a number. I'm not going to tell you 5, 6 items. Just make it look cohesive
Yes.
and organized.
Because there's different ways of doing that, in the sense where if you use the exact same yarn to make everything, you can have a bit more different, like a few more different things, because the yarn is cohesive on your table.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to just be the item, but just try to be mindful to not have, like, 14 different brands of yarns that each have their own colors in 20 different styles.
Yeah.
In a range of 7 sizes. Like, that just becomes
Too much.
so much. Like, you look at your table and it's so much.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I hope this episode was helpful, as per usual. I hope you got some information, and also you got to chat with us a little bit. If you are looking on YouTube, hello. We love that you're here. And if you're listening on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or anywhere where you listen to a podcast, please leave us a 5-star review, because that helps us to get shown to more people.
Yes. And if you're listening on YouTube, leave us a comment. Tell us what you're making.
Yes, please. We would love to read a few comments in here if you guys go and leave us some comments.
Yeah.
And also, if you have any questions or something, stories, crazy
Subject
stories,
ideas, anything, you can email us at
dropastitchpodcast@gmail.com.
yes.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and we will be talking to you very soon.
Next week.
Next week.
Have a great week, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.